They say your body's ability to heal is greater than anyone's permitted you to believe. Hi, everybody, and thank you for joining me on another episode of They Say It Takes a Village. Today's episode is very special because the guest who is on here today, I've only literally met about 2 days ago. With me is Cimeran Kapur. She is the founder and mastermind of Potion. Her story is unbelievable. It's inspirational, it's raw, it's full of heart. Her product is steeped, research-based, Ayurveda, sort of focused, and it's a massive immunity booster. So I wanted to share her story with you guys. Having, sort of just met her, I thought her entire setup is amazing, and I really wanted you guys to hear all about it. So without further ado, the lovely Cimeran. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you and welcome to They Say It Takes a Village.
Thank you so much for inviting me. And I can't believe we only met 2 days ago.
2 days ago.
And we already just hit it off.
I know. Yeah. Just for you guys, we met through a mutual friend. Cimeran came as the guest of honor, and she was the keynote speaker about her incredible product, Potion.
Yep.
And we are encouraged to take our potion.
Take your potion.
For so many, many things. And, I feel to take her through, her, the idea generation to actually, get into her mind as to how you came up with something like this is unbelievable. Your story is so incredible.
Thank you. It means a lot. And it came from a place that was so deep.
Yeah.
It was something that I did for myself, and obviously we'll dive into it a little bit.
Do you want to tell whoever is listening a little bit about yourself? Where do you live? What do you do for a living?
So in San Francisco, they would call me a unicorn because I am born in and raised in San Francisco, which is not very typical.
Yeah.
The people who live there are not necessarily born there. So I'm from San Francisco. I did live in India for 6 years growing up, but for a majority of my life, I have been in the Bay Area. I am the founder of Potion, which is an Ayurvedic medicine brand. And I have a long history in science and research and medicine, even education and public health and all of it. Yeah. And never did I expect that I would go from Western medicine to now Eastern, but life is beautiful and unpredictable, and you just kind of go with it.
Yeah, absolutely. You have to start with how you came up with Potion. What is the story behind it?
So I say this a few times because it really is the truth. Potion was born as an expression of love to myself. Yeah. I was diagnosed with cancer at the age of 28. I was in medical school. I had spent my entire life focused on helping other people. And, as a child, I'd mentioned to you, I grew up in India. I think it was this early stage of my life where it's very formative years. Yeah. And I was 5 years old, I moved to India, and if you've ever been to India, there's a lot of poverty that exists. Mm. And we would be sitting in traffic at the traffic light, and there are children impoverished without clothes, nourishment. And I would look around, and it felt as if everyone was driving injustice by. And at that time, my mom had really ingrained in me and my sister this concept of seva. Mm. Seva, if you don't know what it means selfless service. What I internalized was selfless service without regard for yourself. What it really means is selfless service without the need for reward or recognition. I didn't quite appreciate that as a young child. And so you'll kind of see it in the things that I did over the course of my life. It was always about how can I just give as much of myself to help? Yeah. Because the world seemed like it had so many problems. And I just felt like if nobody's going to do it, I'm going to do it. I'm going to take it on. It was a lot. It was a lot of burden for me to do that. But, went through the path, came back to the US. I studied public health at Berkeley. From there, I became a special ed teacher with Teach for America. From there, I ran a clinic and a center for one of the biggest hospitals in the country, UCSF. I was a clinical researcher. I became a board member for the public health department. And it's funny because obviously I had all this background. And in Indian family, the joke is you want a doctor, right? So my parents are like, are you ever going to go to medical school?
Yeah, it's like Arabs. It's the same thing. It's doctor, lawyer, engineer.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so I said, you know what, I am. And maybe now is the time, because I've seen it from so many different angles. How are people going to take care of themselves? How does the system not communicate with each other? So it seemed like the perfect time for me to just go to med school and reach that next level. And I never expected that my life would get turned around. And not only would I not go and be a doctor, but I would become the patient. So I was in my medical training. My mentors were all surgeons, and that's the path that I wanted to go down. I wanted to be a head and neck surgeon. I found this part of the body really fascinating. And thank God, because I paid special attention whenever we learned anything about this space. So we were doing the head and neck exam, and I was practicing with my partner, and I felt something in my neck. Talked to my professor, I had her examine me, and she said, it feels a little bit swollen, but you said you were just sick a few weeks ago. It's probably pretty normal. Yeah. And I'd just gone to the doctor, by the way. They'd done a whole exam on me. Nothing. I had this nagging, this is why you should always trust your intuition. Yeah. And I'd been in the medical system for so long, I knew the squeaky wheel gets the oil. You have to advocate for yourself, especially in the US, right? And appointments can take months to get, right? 3-6 months sometimes. So I lied. I said, hey, my professors are really worried about me. We need to get labs. We need to get ultrasound. We need to do all these biopsies. I even said biopsy because,
you're just in your mind.
I was just like, we need to do this because I think that something's wrong. And I had told my parents the week before, I think I have cancer, which they thought was ridiculous.
They're like, stop over exaggerating. Yeah, you're fine.
Which is, it's crazy to even say that, but I really thought so. I went and I got an ultrasound, and that's like the first step. You're just kind of doing a scan, right? Within 30 minutes, they had called me, and I was studying in the library, and they said, Cimeran, we think it's cancer and it's everywhere. And I just dropped to the floor, and like my whole life changed. My whole world went upside down. And then began my journey of learning how to love myself.
That's a huge life-changing experience. At 28.
At 28.
Like that.
I was not married. I wanted to get married. I wanted to have a family. There was so much of my life that, I wanted to accomplish. And to be honest, I think a big part of this journey has been like my mission. My mission has always been more important than even me. Yeah. And that's been a learning and a growing in the process as well. And I just felt like, how am I going to achieve my mission of helping millions of people if I can't live? Yeah. And so then I realized the oxygen mask does go on first. Absolutely. You have to take care of yourself if you want to take care of others. And it was really in my face. Yeah. And then what? So how did you, you've got this, usually you get this earth-shattering diagnosis and somebody's telling you that it's everywhere. People, I guess a lot of people would kind of break down and just do whatever they can do with Western medicine to try to get better. But you kind of went the opposite way. Well, not at first.
Okay.
Not at first. So you can see I have a massive scar going through here. Yeah. So I was booked for surgery immediately. And I remember my doctor, my surgeon, telling me, and he was the chair of the department, he hadn't seen this much surgery, this much cancer in 6 years of him doing this surgery. And what was crazy to think about, because now I know so much about the body, and your parasympathetic versus your sympathetic nervous system. And we spoke about this on Monday, and I was teaching everyone about the vagus nerve, for example, which runs the parasympathetic nervous system. And I remember him telling me the cancer was literally wrapped around it. And he had to pry it off, which was to me so telling, because it felt like my entire life I was living in fight or flight. Yeah. I could not relax. And these are all just like signs. And so I went through surgery, then I did nuclear radiation, and then it wasn't working, so I did it again. And at that point, a couple months had gone by after I did it again, and my cancer marker was spiking. I was hospitalized. I had all kinds of crazy symptoms. And to be honest, in the back of my head, I think, as much as I knew it was serious, I think I just had so much faith in the universe that, like, maybe there's a reason behind this, and it'll help me achieve my mission. I was actually building a different business at the time. I was building a tech business, and it was all about helping people be empowered with all their health information. And I thought that I got cancer, so I would leave med school and achieve my mission, which would reach millions of people like I wanted to through this tech. And I, again, put something in front of taking care of myself.
Yourself. Yeah.
I was like, oh, this
must be for the good of others.
Yeah, I'm going to be totally fine. It's going to be like, I think in the back of my, it's almost like delusional. Yeah. And then the next year, as the treatments are not working, then I'm getting scared. And I'm getting even more scared because I've been doing the treatments now, and I've been making lots of drastic changes. I've changed my diet completely. I was making drastic changes to my life, and I was not seeing the results. And for the first time, I thought, oh my God, what if I die?
Oh my goodness.
Like, what if this actually doesn't work out in my favor? Like, me being delusional, what if I'm delusional? Thinking in signs, and because I am that type of person.
But yeah, I mean, I get you. And then you've got like the actual science behind it, telling that we have a problem.
Yeah, we have a problem. Yeah. It's spread. You're never going to be rid of it. Like, hearing all of these things. At some point, when you're talking about more treatments, and the side effects are more types of cancer, it was a whole body hell no. It was a whole body, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to, there's side effects.
Yeah.
Right? A lot of these things that you're doing, yes, it kills cancer, but it also kills healthy cells.
Absolutely.
And so I remember at that point thinking there has to be another way. Yeah. There's no cancer in my family that we knew of. Maybe,
not something that's really prevalent.
Yeah, not something really prevalent. And I kept wondering, I wasn't always sick. So how can you tell me that I'm going to be sick forever? I wasn't always sick. Somewhere along the line, it changed. So what if, like, I made myself, like, what if I took full responsibility for my illness? And I decided to believe that the way I was living my life was creating illness in my body. And if I took full responsibility, I can take full responsibility for my healing. And I became determined. Cancer is a disease of the immune system, right? Your immune system. We all get cancerous cells, actually. That's the truth. And in a healthy person, your body will just kill it off.
Mop it up, yeah. It is. It's chaotic cell division.
Totally. Yeah. And it'll just get rid of it.
Yeah.
But when your body is not in harmony, it can proliferate. And then it becomes a problem. And so that's really when I turned to Ayurveda. So Ayurveda is India's traditional medicine. It is the oldest medicine in history. It is 5,000 years old. It predates Chinese medicine. Everything that's trending in the US right now is Ayurvedic, whether it's breath work, meditation, all of these things, adaptogens, herbs, plant-based diets, intermittent fasting, you name it. Yeah. This all is rooted in Ayurvedic medicine. Nobody calls it that, but we should, because we have to give our culture and our heritage credit.
Yeah.
It's about time that we do so. And so I remember in the beginning when we'd be in the room with the doctors and my mom would say stuff, what if we go to a healer? What if we try plant-based? I remember being so embarrassed. It was like the embarrassment was more important than like the result. Like, don't embarrass me in front of
so and so,
the
professor,
people,
I don't know who.
The people that I would consider my people, right? That we're not quacks.
Yeah.
And I would be like, hush. But I realized, when things weren't working, who cares? Yeah. I'm desperate. Yeah. I will try anything. I remember my mom, it breaks my heart with my mom and my dad. They'll pay any amount of money, right, to see their daughter healthy. Yeah. She was like, I will fly you to Japan, any of these remote clinics, anywhere in the world. We're gonna figure it out, right? We're not gonna give up. And so I remember them telling me, what if we go to Ayurveda? Because it's obviously rooted in our culture and our heritage. It's 5,000 years old, and they've been seeing a lot of stuff with, remedies and all that. What if we go to Ayurveda? And I was like, you know what?
Let's give it a go.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Let's do it. Let's give it a go. And I had tried a bunch of stuff. I tried crystals, I tried healings, I tried mushrooms, I tried all kinds of stuff. And something about Ayurveda was calling me. I had grown up with Ayurvedic medicine, so it was not foreign. And what I did not realize until I started training and practicing, and first we hired people, then I got so into it that I started deeply reading, then I started training in it. So like that was the progression. Ayurveda is the science of life. It's the science of living. It talks about how we are nature and nature heals itself, right? And so we have to be in harmony with the cycles of nature. What's so beautiful about Ayurveda is it really melds 3 fields: science, which I love, philosophy, which I love, and spirituality, which I love. 3 things that I love so much. I would spend all my time on it. So that is Ayurveda. It struck a chord. A lot of these questions that I sat with, when I was doing nuclear radiation, you're radioactive, you're toxic. So you cannot be around other people. Like my husband had to leave. I was all alone. Pre-pandemic, I was in isolation. And so I was someone who didn't really like to spend time with myself. I would distract myself with wanting to be around other people because I didn't like my own company. Maybe I didn't like the thoughts that were going through my head or the feelings that I was experiencing. And you want to numb it, whether with watching TV. But when I was alone for a week at a time, there's only so much TV you can watch.
Absolutely.
There's only so many shows you can watch, and then you're stuck with yourself.
And your thoughts.
And, even when I would hang out with friends or whoever, and I had the most supportive people around me. But everyone has their own life.
Of course. And they can't drop it.
Right. Yeah. So yes, we're talking about cancer and all these things that I'm feeling, but then you go home. And I still
and then you're alone.
I still got to be with myself. I still have to go through my shit. And I think in those moments, I started realizing, like, I want to enjoy my own company. And a lot of the questions that I had, what is the purpose of this all? Why are we here? What happens to your soul when you die? These are questions I could never have answered in medical school, in the hospital. Ayurveda has these answers.
It's amazing.
Right? Same with, like, how does the body work? The mind, body, spirit, harmony. So Ayurveda has it's the science of life and the science of living. If I can tell people there's one thing that you should kind of go deeper in, it's Ayurveda, because it teaches you how to love yourself. And that is the most powerful piece of information, not taught in any school, but that we can all take to live the best life.
But it's brave. What you did was brave. To be able to, again, you get so many people thinking, you know what, this is what it is. I'm going to keep going down the radiation. I'm going to keep going down this way. And to think of an alternative, yes, I mean, of course, there are alternatives around, but I feel like you took an active step, that you did a full life reshuffle.
I did. I absolutely. But like I said, I decided to take responsibility.
Which not a lot of people can.
And you don't want to, right?
No.
But the other alternative was helplessness. And it sucked. Hearing from my doctors that I was like, why did this happen? Well, we don't know. We don't know the root cause. And also, nobody knows you more than you. Absolutely. Nobody knows your life experiences, what you've gone through, whether it's trauma in childhood or things that have happened. Nobody knows that but you. And Western medicine doesn't have those answers. What they'll say is, we don't know why it happened. It's random. That's what they say. It's random. We don't know why it happened, but really, like, this is the treatment, and you're going to be destined to have treatment for the rest of your life. And so for me,
it's a shocking thing to sit in front of somebody, in a doctor's office, and they're telling you this, and you're thinking, surely you must be mistaken.
One of the things that actually gave me that courage and that bravery, you can imagine, I'm someone who went to med school, and I am still very driven. I'm not as type A anymore, but super type A. So you can imagine, after my diagnosis, I went deep into reading and studying and watching anything I could, any story I could about a healing and a recovery, whether miraculous or not, right? And so a lot of my research started coming down to food as medicine, for example. I asked multiple doctors, what if I change my diet? What if I go vegan? What if I go plant-based? I'm seeing lots of accounts around this and research and stuff. And they all said, That will not help. It will not hurt. It won't do anything. So that's when I called bullshit. That's when I was like, and I remember my husband was in the room and he was like, that's crazy that they think that what you put in your body is going to have zero impact and effect. And maybe it's the training of like, well, cancer is so severe, or like food is not going to change, is not going to reverse cancer. But
okay.
You know, the real research is 80% of your health is in your hands. But if we knew that, we would be so much more empowered than the opposite, which is we are now becoming accustomed to going to medical professionals and having them take care of us, and them telling us what needs to be done for us to live our lives. But the truth is, the real root of the word doctor is to teach and to be a support, not to be the boss, right? It's
and especially the boss of your own body.
Exactly.
You are that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so when I started realizing, well, if I know what we learned in med school about the food, you know, all of that sort of stuff. It used to be the food pyramid, and then it became choose my plate.
Yeah.
It's the government telling you what to eat.
Yeah.
And most of those are by lobbyists.
Yeah.
So for me, I knew it wasn't adding up.
Yeah.
And I knew the curriculum wasn't the right curriculum. Yeah. So I began to question things, and question that maybe the things that I'm doing will have more of an impact, and I'm going to go down this path.
Yeah. So you got that, and you did go through some level of treatment as well.
Yes, I did.
Then you switched paths.
I switched paths to Ayurveda.
And then,
so this is the good part.
Yeah.
I slowly started seeing results. So it was hard at first, obviously, you know.
Are you sort of anxious, like you're trying all this and you're putting that in,
God,
and the anxiety level could, you know.
You can imagine. And you know, that's the problem with being a human being and having these crazy thoughts. And if you don't know how to regulate your thoughts, they can go wild. And I'm not talking about suppression, right? I'm talking about just training your mind of which direction to be thinking. Because of course, sometimes I go off the flywheel, thinking like, I'm making all this effort. What if it doesn't actually matter? Yeah. What if it doesn't actually matter?
Why am I even doing this?
Totally. Yeah. Why don't I just eat a bunch of cookies again? Like,
Absolutely.
You know, sort of thing.
Yeah.
You know, I've cut out sugar, I've cut out this, I've cut out that, and like I'm doing all these things and I'm not seeing, and for a while I wasn't seeing results. Yeah. But then all of a sudden, my cancer marker stopped going up.
Sort of tipped the scale a little bit.
For the first time, when I started practicing Ayurveda, and I mean, when people say, what did you do?
What did you do?
Okay, this is what I did.
Okay.
First, I remember my husband and I, we created like a little map, and we're like, okay, these are all of the categories that impact your health. Sleep, nutrition, supplementation, like all of the different things. And then even like my dental care, you know, my doctors, like all of the different areas that could have an impact on my health. And then we started realizing, okay, well, food is a big part of it. Number one, I'm not the best cook. Yeah. And I realized that even if I was going more vegan or vegetarian, eating out is not the answer because of the oils and all of the things that are used, right? They don't actually care about nutrition and getting nutritional value. So we need to cook at home. But I'm also an entrepreneur. I was building a tech business at the time. Maybe I should outsource this, and maybe I should find a really good person. And that was actually a beautiful part of the journey, is after we had hired an Ayurvedic team to start teaching me about Ayurveda and all the things to do.
But I was going to say, like, did you have somebody guiding you?
Yes, we did. Okay. Yeah. So I'd hired a whole team and, you know, a coach and all of that sort of stuff. But they were overseas, and the implementation was the hardship for me.
I can imagine.
Because I was like, this is a lot of stuff to do. I need help.
Yeah.
And so, you know, not to say everybody has the resources to do so. Yeah. We just made sure that we really allocated correctly, because for me, I was like, we're not eating out. I would rather spend it on someone who can help me eat well.
Properly.
Eat properly. Yeah. And so this woman that I hired, she was a German lady. She's trained in Ayurvedic medicine. She's trained in Ayurvedic nutrition, and she had a background in nursing.
That's amazing.
So she came into my life, and that's really when the journey took the next level, because it was, you know, we were like on the same team, and she was helping me work through the food. And that's really when, you know, I told her I really want to focus on my immunity. And I had started doing research based on the old team that I was using on all the different herbs and all the different formulations in Ayurveda that is supposed to help your immune system. So then using my clinical research background, looking up all the herbs, and then she helped me with putting it all together. Like it was first my mom and I who would do it, and we created this, and I think I mentioned to you, this powder concoction, which was disgusting. Yeah. It was foul. It was foul. So I just put on my dal. I was dousing it in whatever I could to just eat this stuff. Yeah. But a big part of what I learned in Ayurveda too is you have to enjoy it. Yeah. You have to enjoy the process. And if you're doing something begrudgingly, those emotions also have an impact.
It's just so amazing. I feel like we'll get to that because you marry in that, like you said, it's the research, the spirituality, all of it. All of it, philosophy needs to be in harmony.
Yeah. So I started with the science part, right? What are all the herbs? What are all the formulations? And then even that process, I mean, it was years to get to what I have today. And again, this was not a business. This was something that I did for myself. Personal. Yeah. Because I was building a tech business, right? And so Potion was the first thing I did as an act of love to myself, a commitment to myself, to put myself first, to nourish my mind, my body, my spirit. And that whole process of even how this powdered goo thing became the formula of today is just a beautiful process. Yeah. Because for me, I remember the point of time where my bedside was filled with pharmaceutical medicines. And I'd look over and I'd feel like a sick person. I'd feel like a cancer patient. Yeah. And I was like, I don't want to feel like a patient. This feels like sickness. This doesn't feel like health. Yeah. And so if you even see like our packaging and the design and all of that, I wanted to reach for health. I wanted my life.
It's vibey. It's
vibey.
Beautiful.
I wanted my life to feel beautiful. And sexy and like all the things.
That's the thing. It's not even just, yes, of course, the actual pharmaceutical medication are really, you do feel like a sick person. Yeah. But even supplements, if you're a nightstand post, it's not nice.
And that was it. It was not just pharmaceutical medicines. I had a bunch of supplements.
And you think, I have to take this one and that one.
And all of it, but just like pill after pill after pill. It was a lot. Yeah. And I didn't vibe with it, and so you can kind of see that in like the process, like every part of the brand is really like paying homage to my journey. And it's really, I'm giving people, it's kind of funny how life just turns itself on its head, because when I was building my tech business, it was all about, again, my mission. How am I going to use my skills to help heal the world and help people be more empowered in their own health? That is still my mission today. But I'm not doing what I think other people want. Yeah. I'm just giving them what I did for myself. Yeah. Do you see the difference?
It sort of worked for me. I hope it works for you.
Do you see the difference, though?
Absolutely.
It's like it's still my mission, but it's not about me fulfilling you. This is what I did to fulfill myself. I know you like it. Here you go. You can have it too. And you can do it for yourself too. Because I fill my own cup. Yeah. And I fill it so much that I overflow. That's it. You get over. And it spilleth over. Yeah. And you can take some of that spilleth over to help you generate for yourself, and you fill your own cup, and then you run it over.
That's amazing. Just in terms of a timeline, how long did it take you to get to this point? Well, at least to create like the first version of Potion.
2018, 2019, 2020, 2021, 4 years.
Unbelievable. Yeah. It's a short amount. It's not long.
It's not long. No. But I saw results.
100%.
Yeah.
I mean, you feel good. You look good. You're here.
I'm here.
It's unbelievable. To actually dive into Potion. Mm-hmm. First of all, I love the name.
Thank you.
I love it. I love your, take your potion. Like there is a magical element to it.
And I did it on purpose.
Yeah, yeah.
Because I feel so blessed that this is even a business, because it was never supposed to be a business. I had real hardship with my tech business in 2021. And I was forced to pivot. Not that I wanted to. It was like me pushing a boulder up a hill, like Oedipus, right? Yeah. And it just keeps rolling back over. Yeah. It was like I would put so much effort, so much of myself, And it just wasn't going over the edge.
Yeah.
And I couldn't understand why.
Yeah.
And at some point, I am a spiritual person. I became pretty upset with the universe.
Yeah, you're like, why? I'm doing all of this.
I was
putting
like,
all my
again,
heart, my blood, sweat, and tears, my health.
I'm getting over cancer. Like, are you joking,
Yeah.
universe? Like,
Yeah.
like,
give me a break.
And give me
Yeah.
a break. You know what? Do you want me to just be selfish again?
Yeah.
Like, again, I've never been selfish. Like,
Yeah.
maybe that's the answer. And it's funny because it's not selfish. It was self-love.
Yeah.
It was picking myself. It was picking my happiness. That's not something I actually ever valued. I still felt like my mission was more important than my happiness and than my love for myself. And so I almost gave up, which is one of the most shameful things. And I'm admitting it's the first time publicly, I almost gave up on myself after having cancer and surviving it, because I was having such a hardship bringing this to full fruition. And by the luck of surrender, and I truly mean, surrendering is really just killing your ego. Yeah. That the sense that you think you know how your life is going to go, that you're meant to do whatever it was. I wouldn't say I gave up, but I just surrendered
to the idea of that you're here, you're now. This is
here now. If this thing is not going to work,
it's just not going to work.
It's not going to work. Let's see what you got.
Yeah.
I got into one of the most prestigious startup programs by fluke. Yeah. I did not apply. I got into that program, it's Techstars, and I moved to LA for 3 months. I told the managing director, by the way, I'm going to, as you know, with all the things, Apple became competitive with our business, we're clearly going to have to pivot. And I honestly felt so much guilt and shame about it, because it felt like I'd failed. And it felt like I didn't earn or deserve a spot in this program. 1, because I didn't apply. 2, because I felt like a failure. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, many different, different reasons. And I show up, and he laughed when I told him. He said, Cimeran, 80% of startups pivot. You bet on the founder, and I'm betting on you. You're going to figure it. He didn't say we'll figure it out. You're going to figure it out. I moved to LA for 3 months, and I moved to LA with the idea of surrender. I just surrendered. And I was pressure testing every idea under the sun of how to pivot this business. You know what people cared about? How I healed myself.
That was your pivot.
It wasn't even my idea. Yeah. The way it was like, hey, can we try this? Like, what do you mean Ayurveda? It's the first time I was open about it, right? Because it's LA. LA is way more open.
Yeah, but and the thing is, there is power behind what your story holds. Yeah. On a multitude of things. It's not just, yes, of course you did heal, but it's almost like you healed as a whole person. You managed to. This
was the last, almost like, I wouldn't say last because your life is a whole journey, but for me it was a massive shedding. Yeah. A massive shedding of even this idea that my life is only of service. Yeah. It was truly like the embodiment of serve yourself. And it's okay that life isn't, maybe I grew up with this idea that like hard work and a hard life is like what success is.
Yeah, you have to earn it.
You have to, and it has to be hard.
Yeah. It can't be just normal.
Can't be easy. It can't be easy. Yeah. Absolutely not, But this journey has been beautiful. It's been so much more easy. I can't even tell you. By the end of that program, I had paid customers.
That's amazing.
We weren't ready to launch, obviously, because but we had a brand, and I decided, you know what? F it. I'm going to name it Potion.
Yeah.
Why? Because it was magic.
It is magic.
It was magic.
It is magic.
It is magic. The way it all happened was magic. And Take Your Potion, which we got, the trademarking and the website and everything. For me, it was like, take your magic, and you are the magic. You are so much more participant in your healing journey than you're made. And you started off with that with a quote like that. Yeah. Take your potion, like nature's your potion. Yeah. Your mindset is your potion. Your, Ayurveda, whatever it is, like that's really what it means to me.
It's amazing. It's amazing. The whole thing is amazing. I feel like I can talk about your story, the ins and outs, like the whole entire podcast. I mean, it's literally like you can go through year by year and we're like, and then what happened? And then what happened? And then what did you do? Yeah. It's really, it's so inspirational. And it just goes to show that when you know, sort of, I love the fact that you say that, you know, I tried so hard and it was really, really hard. It was really very difficult with your tech startup. And then something became easy.
Just became easy. And I allowed it to be easy. Yeah. And these are like the messages, you know, obviously this is my story that I'm talking about, but I really hope that people can relate to these concepts because I do think they're applicable to everyone's lives, right? It's like, where in your life are you really pushing something that you're trying to force, but it's not happening in flow?
Do you know, we, you know, sort of in my culture, sort of in Arabs, I guess, believe whenever sort of obstacles come your way, and if they're really very difficult, it's just not the right path.
It's a detour into the right direction.
It's a detour into the right direction. It's just, you've given it a good go. If it's not working, there's no khair, I don't know how to say it in English, but there's no luck or fortune or, you know, nothing. You just move past it and just go the direction that. And if you think about it, you're right. It happens in every single part of your life. You just need to be a little bit more in tune to pick up on those subtle signals, I guess. But we are so busy in our lives in highly stressed situations, and we walk around thinking, oh, it didn't work. I have to try harder. I must try harder. They tell you never to give up.
But you know why that is? Yeah. It's because we've been made to believe that we 100% create our own destiny, and that's false.
Yeah.
We are not in control of our own lives. Yeah. Yes, we have agency. Yes, we can have purpose. I'm not saying that, you know, your life is not up to you, of course. But I do believe that there is something greater, nature, whatever you would call it, that guides us. And sometimes, you know, have you ever like looked back at your life and you're like, wow, I could never connect the dots going forward.
Yes.
But I can totally connect them going back.
Yes, 100%.
I would have never, like you hear this from everyone, I would have never expected that this happened, or how you were talking about how you met your husband in the car, right? And it's like all of these serendipities that make up your life. Yeah. The truth is, it's so much easier if we felt like we controlled our life rather than helplessness or feeling like we don't.
To relinquish control is a very difficult thing to do for people.
But it's just change your perspective. It's not to be helpless that you don't have control over your life. Maybe just kill your ego that you know the best, because maybe you don't. Maybe you don't.
That's a hard pill to swallow. A lot of people are like, I mean, everyone's, I'm sure, even now you're talking, I'm like, yeah. Then you say, maybe you don't, and you think,
just let it sit with you.
Yeah.
Because I think that's the biggest frustration and hardship that so many of us face is when we believe something so strongly and the universe keeps pushing us and nudging us, and you don't want to make the change because you're like, no, this is how I want it to be. And that, holding on so tightly, like, that's going to cause the most pain in your life.
Absolutely.
It really is. Instead of going with the flow. Yeah. That's what they say, go with the flow. It's so much easier. And if you just kind of live in that state of flow, you're going to have a great life, because you'll be okay with the ups and the downs, because that is life. Life is waves, sometimes forward, sometimes back, but always moving in the direction that you want to go.
Yeah. That's brilliant. To take you through now, let's talk about potion.
Okay.
You've got 12 Ayurvedic herbs or healing herbs that are infused in this incredible concoction.
Yep.
What are they?
Okay. So there's 12 of them.
Yeah.
Amla. Let's make sure I get all of them. Ashwagandha.
Yep.
Black pepper. Cardamom.
Okay.
Clove.
Yep.
Cinnamon. Echinacea. Giloy. Passion flower. Tulsi. Turmeric. And I'm missing one.
I've got a bottle at home. I could have read, but I love the fact that everything that you have mentioned.
There's an amla,
Everything you have mentioned, and you made a very, very big emphasis on the fact that you use the whole plant.
Yes. So that's really important. I think And this is something that Western medicine, because it works in Western medicine for pharmaceutical drugs, they look for the active compound, the active ingredient, right? Nature works as a whole, right? If you actually look at the body, and there's so much wisdom when we just kind of, this is again like, maybe we don't know it all, because in science, we really have barely scratched the surface, right? Your body is naturally intelligent. There's still stuff we are figuring a lot of stuff out about how the human body works. Your body is actually more other cells than your cells. Did you know that?
No.
We have more microbes and other organisms living inside of us. We're actually a host in an ecosystem to other things. We're made up of other cells more than we're made up of our own cells, right? So it's really important to remember that we're feeding an ecosystem. And by just isolating one part, you're losing potentially all the other parts, because you think that there's one active ingredient, but you forget that there is this magic around the other parts of the plant and how they all work in synergy, how they might enhance each other. So that's why whole plants are so important. I will say Ayurveda, and it's very important that I do say this, Ayurveda believes that if your diet is right, medicine is not necessary. And I said this before. The problem is, as human beings, we've really messed up our planet. We have really done damage. So we cannot now live by those olden rules, because our soil is so depleted. So even if your diet is right, you're probably still missing a lot of nutrition. Even if you're eating organic, locally sourced, all of that stuff. So supplementation has now become a requirement, unfortunately, because of our soil system. So that being said, it's really important to take whole plant. And we actually, this is why I find everything so beautiful about Potion. And the way I talk about it, it's like, it's not really my brand. It's like this thing that happened. And that's why I love it. You know, love just looking at it from the outside. There are all parts of a plant in Potion. There is the roots of, you know, the ashwagandha, the turmeric, the ginger's what I forgot, ginger. There is
that kick, the ginger kick,
There is the bark of cinnamon, which is Ceylon cinnamon. We talked about Sri Lanka, and Ceylon cinnamon is true cinnamon. Most people actually don't have true cinnamon in their kitchen. They have cassia cinnamon, because that's what's commercially sold in grocery stores. We have the stems of giloy. We have the leaves of tulsi. We have the flower of echinacea and passion flower. We have the fruit of amla. We have the seeds of cardamom. Like, it's all parts of a plant in one potion. And I love it. I just love it.
Did you have to sort of look at, I mean, was there a specific choice why you chose those 12? Is it that they work together?
They work together. So that's the other thing, is like, a lot of times, so there's different Ayurvedic formulations. And the one that I base this off of, a lot of these herbs go together, and they go really well together. Like, for example, I was surprised that many people don't know this, but similar to like what I taught about cinnamon, turmeric cannot be taken on its own. I mean, it can be, but it's not going to be absorbed by your body. When you take it with a little bit of black pepper, the absorption goes up by 2,000%.
You guys heard it here. There you go. Take your turmeric with black pepper.
You got to make sure that you're taking, they enhance each other. This is showing how the community of these plants synergistically really up-level each other. And so that is why it's like so powerful, is because they blend so well together. But I will say at the same time, the way we do it is we blend it together, but they're all extracted separately. It's a very long, tedious process to make potion because, for example, amla is heat sensitive.
Okay, so it has to be cold pressed, I'm assuming.
It has the highest level of vitamin C of any fruit on the planet. Like, one little amla berry has as much vitamin C as 20 oranges.
That's unbelievable.
So amla, all of them are extracted separately, and then they're blended together in the right proportions, and they create these synergies, and you can taste it.
Yeah, 100%.
You can taste it.
Yeah.
And I never mentioned this because people would think it's woo-woo, but who cares? This is how I made it for myself. Mantras and chanting the entire time.
That was my other question.
Time.
I read that on your website. It says that you sort of package them with mantras and vibrations and all,
because Ayurveda believes this.
You sort of bless it as it goes out.
And even as it goes out, I'm very much a part of the process of making sure they're mailed to everything. And I bless it because I want you to receive it with the vibration of healing beyond just like, yes, the science is there and you don't need to do anything. Again, we give you a ritual card of an invitation, a suggestion of what you should do for your ritual, which is what I did.
I have to ask you about the ritual because I love that too. Yeah, continue. Yeah.
But the science of it works, right? There is real research behind these ingredients used together for cold, cough, flu. And a lot of this research, by the way, came out in COVID because I'm sure you know that a lot of natural medicines, the reasons why people say, oh, well, it's not proven. It's not proven because it's not researched. Why is it not researched? Because you can't patent nature. So why would pharmaceutical companies spend money on researching things? They're going to research an active ingredient that they can isolate and they can create a medicine out of that nobody else can do.
Absolutely.
They're not going to patent nature.
Yeah.
But this was the norm for millennia. Up until recently. And so I think it's really important that we just kind of honor and remember that. And it does have research behind it. So for cold, cough, flu, all of those sort of things. And COVID was wonderful in many ways for the world of health and wellness, not only for research that's coming out, because before we had a vaccine, it was like, can anything work? Is there anything that we got desperate. And because we got desperate, we got open. Yeah. All of a sudden, it wasn't the ego saying, that's a bunch of quackery.
Yeah, that's true.
And you know how actually that happened, right? There was something called the Flexner Report. So really, the reason why all of the Eastern medicine gets a bad rep is literally a marketing program. Because it was practiced for centuries. Yeah. And then all of a sudden, the oil and steel tycoons wanted to get into petrochemicals and medicines. Yeah. And so they published a report that overnight, essentially, as they're making medical schools, made everything else quackery. It happened overnight. People were jailed. It was all kinds of stuff. But the truth is, at the end of the day, if things are not available, it is your own body. It is nature that is going to help you. And so the fact that it's not been squashed and it's been millennia tells us something.
That's right.
That we can't ignore nature. It really does have the potential to help us heal, and we should probably honor that a little bit more.
No, 100%. And I think there is. Look, I think there is a place for Western medicine.
Exactly.
There is definitely a place for sort of traditional Eastern medicine or alternative medicine.
There
or
needs to be
you
harmony, though.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You can't. It's like everything in life. You can't just go down one way.
Path. Exactly.
And that's probably the most important because you've done the two. And that, the Western medicine.
And I did that first.
Absolutely.
I did it first.
Could have definitely saved your life, and then you bettered it going forward.
Totally.
And maintained it. So I think, look, it's one of those things that you can't just be like, I'm just going to stop everything.
And I think that's like the dangerous part. And I feel like there's a lot of fear around, people say you have to pick a side. Yeah. And I've been cornered many times to people saying, so do you only believe in Eastern?
Or is it only,
No. Would I go back and would I change things? Yeah. Would I have gone to surgery again? Absolutely. Would I have done the radiation? Probably not.
Maybe not.
So there's different parts of it, right? And I think it's really important that, like you said, and this is part of our mission. We say it on our website. We say it in all our newsletters. We believe in East and West, ancient and modern, natural and pharmaceutical. But the problem is because of how Eastern medicine has been branded and sabotaged over so many years, I feel like it's my honor and my duty to bring trust, credibility, and authenticity to the space.
Absolutely.
It's not that I'm discrediting Western medicine.
It
has a place, but 80% of your health is in your hands. And why are we not focusing on that more?
100%.
It's more empowering.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's really important, to be able to say that it's not the be all and end all. There is an alternative. There is a choice. You are in control.
Yep.
It is your body. Advocate for yourself.
Totally.
Put yourself forward. Push that self-love. And I love it. I mean, to even tie it, it's not just, of course, we're a parent. I'm a parent. And kids do get sick, and they get sick with bacterial infections, and that we have to go down some sort of, antibiotics and things. It is life-saving.
And again, you don't want to overdo it.
Absolutely.
But once in a while, you really need it.
100%.
Because the body might take really long to heal itself.
Exactly. Yeah. But what I do, you always, as a parent, look for an alternative.
Yep.
You can't just, now, I feel like, I do have to say, sort of the medical community are a little bit under the microscope, more and more so, with people realizing that it isn't just all about what they've got going on.
It's a business.
It is a business.
And you can see it in the data.
Right. Absolutely. And
60% of the US has a chronic illness.
Yeah.
And
you mentioned, I remember.
And do you know that chemotherapy makes $8 or $9 billion a year?
This is the thing. It's the astonishing amount of funding and amount of revenue these companies, these pharmaceutical companies, and like you said, it's all being lobbied. And that's where, as a patient or a consumer, this is where I would see a red flag. You are who you are. You put yourself first. Yes, that person is, this sort of white coat syndrome. Yes, they are an authority.
Totally.
They have gone to school and it is great and they may know. But also at the same time, take it in your hands a little bit more.
Totally. And the thing is, there's so much fear oriented with it. And I understand, right? Like, going to med school, it's expensive. Yeah. It's so hard to get into. It's so much work to go through it.
Competitive, yeah.
All of that stuff. Absolutely. And so I do think sometimes, this is not to say every doctor, but you do have a little bit of like I obviously went to medical school because I wanted to help heal people.
Yeah.
Right? And then you sometimes get stuck in a system, but you also don't want to believe that you've wasted all of this. But the truth is, a majority of med school is pharmacology. Yeah. A majority of med school is like, which drugs interact with what, and all of that sort of stuff, right? And the holistic is not really taught. Mm-hmm. I can tell you how long the nutritional training is and all of the other things, right? And those make a much bigger difference in the day-to-day of a person, which is very important to think about. And because Western medicine is a business, the problem is, I actually feel like we talk about ego a lot. The ego of Western medicine has gotten so big, and that's the problem, is that when you think you know it all, you can't see the bigger picture.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
There's so much left to discover about the human body. I remember when people would say acupuncture was woo-woo. It's covered by insurance now. There's research behind it.
Absolutely.
Meditation was woo-woo.
Yeah.
Do you know how much research is being done of the power of meditation?
Do you know, it's funny you say that. I just went to a cardiologist. I had palpitations about 2 weeks ago, and they were nonstop. My iron levels were a bit low. One of the recommendations, like, you should do a 10-minute guided meditation. I was like, wow, that's a bit refreshing. Mm-hmm. A cardiologist telling me that. So it's moving, a shift.
Because they have to.
Absolutely.
Western medicine has to.
Yeah.
Because otherwise you're going to lose all the money because the patients are not going to go anymore.
Yeah.
Do you know that,
and it was deep breathing, breath work, and I thought,
where am I? Breath work was woo-woo.
Yeah.
Now hospitals are teaching it, and they're calling it mindfulness-based stress reduction, all this sort of stuff.
Yeah.
It is all Ayurvedic, by the way.
Yeah.
Pranayama, different breathing techniques, it's all from Ayurveda. Yeah. And what I find so interesting is, like, the hospital systems also don't talk to each other, which is hard. Mm. So, like, a big hospital like Stanford or UCSF, you'll go see doctors there, and then you'll say, should I change my diet? No. That's the stuff that I told you. But then they have a holistic center, also the same hospital. Their recommendations are different. Yeah. And there you can see a practitioner who might have some training in Ayurveda or whatever. It's like there's like a kind of like a wall in between.
Yeah.
But they're doing it so that you still have the ability to keep patients in that sphere. So I find that pretty interesting. Yeah. Obviously things are changing, and I want to believe that they're changing in a really positive way. Mm. But I think the biggest problem is losing trust with the consumer. And that is what we're up against, is that trust has been lost, because we've seen that at the core, it's not like people's health is the biggest priority. It's just managing illness, which is a very different thing. It's not optimizing for health. It's optimizing for making sure you don't get more sick. Yeah. But you stay sick so that you continue to come back.
It's unbelievable. It really is unbelievable. And I feel like, this is something that, again, we can talk about forever. Forever.
I know you have more questions.
I
so
do.
yeah.
Well, the one thing I wanted to sort of quickly touch on, because, you know, when I got my potion, which I told you that both me and my husband now are dousing ourselves in it. I was actually, you know, it's, you know, for me to be at my best, I've got 2 little kids, to not be run down or feeling ill in any way is honestly, I hate getting sick.
Yeah.
And you've got 2 like virus loving germ disseminators that pick it up from school.
Yeah.
They come home and you can't help but feel run down because they're sneezing and coughing in your face.
Yeah.
And you're mopping it up and you're taking out the boogers and all of that kind of.
Yeah.
It's so much assault to your immunity that you can only be kind of healthy for. I actually, since having kids,
You've been most sick.
I've been most sick in my whole life.
Yeah.
And I would consider myself a very healthy person.
Yeah.
I'm very careful what I put in.
Yeah.
And, you know, I try to do all the right things and everything. But wow, for the past 5 years, I've had one virus after the other. And it's usually every 2 to 3
week,
months.
Yeah. 2 to 3 months.
2 to 3 months, we get something coming in and it wipes the entire house out.
Oh, gosh.
So to have something like this, honestly, a magic in a bottle, I think is every parent's dream. Because literally, one question for you is this something that should be taken when you are run down, or is it a daily thing?
Daily. And I think that's the most important thing. Food is medicine.
Yeah.
I consider this food. This is like all spices and herbs, right? This is
Yeah.
food. And you need to nourish yourself every single day. And it's like routine. Routines are nourishing. At the subconscious cellular level, you're talking to your body. You're communicating with it with the information you're giving it. Food is information, right? How you schedule your life is information, right? When you wake up in the morning and you look at your phone, that's information.
Yeah.
All the things that you do, that's the routine and the tone that you're setting for yourself.
But I also love, I'm just sort of tying it all in, but I also love that when we got the potion, there's also a little routine that goes along with it.
There's a ritual with it.
A ritual, a self-love ritual where you really put the emphasis on it. And it is very, you know, again, me and my husband both did it. And to get him to kind of follow on to, you know, something that I was into is abnormal. So we did it both. And one of them was to ground yourself and then take a deep breath and then breathe out. And you know, and then the affirmations, it just becomes, honestly, a pleasurable thing. Yeah. You're not just taking a supplement.
No.
You're
participating
in your own
medicine.
Mind, body, soul connection.
Yeah.
And that was the coolest part.
Yeah.
And I love that because, again, literally, I'm running out the house. I'm going to pop my whatever vitamin C before I sleep. I'm going to take my magnesium. Yeah. I didn't do anything. I didn't feel good about myself. I was like, okay,
you
just do it
on the go. But this is your moment of presence.
Yeah, it's kind of like skincare.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Take your potion in the full sense. You know, it's like,
what made you? I mean, did you want to marry that in?
That's what I did every day.
Oh, okay.
That's what I did.
Yeah,
because I learned that in Ayurveda. Right? It's funny. There's this. So when I had this Ayurvedic chef and nutritionist cooking in my home, there was once I was on a pretty heated call, and my husband was home because I had mainly spent most of the time with her, but he's a better cook than me. And so he was home because he had to spend time with her to just see how she does things, because we weren't going to use her forever. Yeah. Right? So, you know.
She was just there to educate you guys.
And so I'm on this super heated call. Like a vendor is not doing what they're supposed to. And it's just, you know, and I am just heated.
Yeah.
And we're in that point, one bedroom, so the kitchen is not too far away. And she just stops, takes him out of the house and goes, "This we cannot have when we're cooking. You know, like we need to." And he thought it was like the wildest, crazy.
Like, what are you doing?
Yeah, you know,
let's get back in the house.
He you know, still tells the story of how like woo woo and whatever it is. Yeah. But the truth is, like, that is what I learned, and that is what I practiced. You know, when in Ayurveda there's prayers that you say before your meal, and a lot of cultures will do that, right? Because we're also so disconnected from what food comes on our plate and all this stuff. But you bless what you're doing, and you bless this act that you're doing. And mindset does matter. I'm saying you don't have to do this. Nobody has to do this. Potion has clinically researched back herbs.
It's great,
right?
Yeah, regardless.
It'll work regardless.
Yeah.
But I want you to be participant in your own healing. I want you to feel like you're an agent in your own healing, because the truth is that stuff has science behind it too. You grounding yourself, you activating your parasympathetic nervous system by the longer your exhale, the more you're able to activate your parasympathetic nervous system.
I swear we did the same thing, and I said that exact same thing because you said it on Monday. I'm like, we've got to try it.
Did you feel it?
We felt good.
Should we do it for everyone right now?
Come on, everybody, take a deep breath. Come on, AJ, take a deep breath. We feel good. AJ's got his eyes closed.
And then you affirm.
Yeah.
Because, and you see it all the time, affirmations and that sort of stuff, but how you talk to yourself is information, and it really matters. It's how you feel about yourself.
It's true.
So, I would look at myself in the mirror. In the beginning, I was like, you're a sick person. I would look at my scar and it's like, I'm healthy. My body is strong. I feel vibrant. And you start saying it, and you start looking at it, and you feel it.
Yeah.
And then you visualize as you're taking your potion that it's giving your body all the nutrients that it needs, because mindset matters. It's proven.
Yeah. It's amazing. I loved it. I loved that part of it. Yes, like you said, the potion's going to do its part, but there's very little chances in the day that you get to take that.
Just take a minute.
Just a minute.
Yeah, just take a minute.
And it really does make a difference. And I'm telling you, to get my husband to participate in something like this, I was just a bit like, how do you feel? He was like, yeah, pretty good.
Yeah. And it's funny because so many families say that they do it as a ritual together.
I love it.
And I think it's the cutest thing.
It really is.
It's the cutest thing. The whole family will have this ritual.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, is it time to take our potion? It's really cute. It's really cute.
It's very cute. Yeah. It's like our mutual friend Roshni was, I think, just to get exactly, it was a ritual, and everyone gets ready to take their magic potion.
It's so funny because when I went to her house and I met her for the first time, her kids are like, oh, this is the magic lady.
Yeah, that's the magician. The magicians come to show us some cool tricks. That's that part of it. I feel you tackle something that is very important to boost somebody's immunity, to make them feel good, to have this type of life, and you are doing something with that, knowing that it's not going to have any detrimental side effect.
It's only going to be additive.
That's it.
And for busy parents, for busy moms, to take a moment for yourself, to just ground yourself, to have a moment of presence, it's everything, because you're running around a mile a minute.
Yeah. Was self-love, self-care always something that you wanted to just always make sure that was ingrained in whatever you were going to push forward?
I thought my mission was to help. What is one of my favorite quotes, but it's all about, when you think that you're supposed to heal the world, the truth is you have to practice it first.
Absolutely.
And I realized that I am worthy of love, especially from myself, because I never give myself permission to love myself that much. I love myself now. I love spending more than anyone else in the world. I love myself, and I love spending time with myself. That's not something I could have said 5 years ago. And I do believe if we can, my whole mission is to just show people you are worthy of love, especially from yourself. There's some people who don't need that reminder, but I do think a lot of us do.
Yeah.
If you've gone through any hardship or trauma or whatever it is, maybe you feel unworthy in certain ways. I don't want you to.
No.
Because the truth is, you're meant to shine your light so damn brightly that you light up the world and you inspire other people to ignite that own flame. Because I think we're kind of trained in this society that scarcity.
Absolutely.
The universe is vast and abundant. There is more than enough room for all of us to take up as much space as we want. That is the truth. Start living in that harmony. Start living in that abundance. And it'll just fill you up, and you'll be you'll enter a room and you'll bring in energy. Yeah. And that's a beautiful thing to do.
That is. And it is rare to be able to comfortably do that.
Yeah.
It does take practice.
It takes practice.
Yeah.
It's unsettling for some people.
It is, yeah.
And it was, trust me, it was unsettling for me.
Yeah.
It was unsettling for me to get to the place that I am, where I believe that, the world is rooting for me.
It's not against you.
No, it's not against you. And that you're worthy of love, especially from yourself. There's more than enough room for everyone to get everything that they want. There is more than enough room. Yeah. And community is everything. Yeah. take a note from nature. Like, we are an ecosystem, we are a community.
Absolutely.
And you know, I talked about this on Monday, but most of us, we're running a mile a minute because that's the way the new world works. Fast, pace. Your head has woken up and you're already on your phone.
100%.
And texts are coming in, emails are coming in, and your body is super smart. The thing is, it's quiet, but it's still paying attention. And it should be connected. It should be in harmony. So slow down a bit, like listen to it. Because like if you quiet down, that's why meditation is so powerful. It's because you're quieting down and you're listening to your intuition. You're listening to your body. You're harmonizing with it. You're going into this deeper state. And that state is a super powerful state. Slowly is the fastest way to get to anywhere you want to be.
I love it. Slow and steady.
Wins the race, baby.
That's
And there's
it.
no race, actually.
Yeah, there's no race, but slow and steady. You're right. It's such a weird duality. You're right in the sense that life as we know it is so fast. It's instant gratification. You need to have things done instantly. The idea of slowing down, it's difficult. And it's one of those things that you need somebody to almost tell you, hey, just take a minute, go do some meditation, go do something. That's why, again, for me, I haven't gone into meditation. I really want to. I feel like I need to go to somebody to just walk me through it, because my meditation, I'm uncomfortable, you know.
Start with your breath.
Yeah, but even with my breath, I'm not really sure what I'm doing.
Yeah.
You know, am I breathing faster? Am I breathing slower, deeper? You know, whereabouts am I breathing? I'm going to go and actually do it properly one time so I can take it home and actually do it there.
Totally.
Because I have heard the incredible benefits that you get from it.
It's been incredible.
Yeah.
So do you know what my name means?
No.
So Cimeran means, and I truly realized what my name meant after my diagnosis. I thought it was like a messenger for the, God or something like that. That's what I learned growing up. I started meditating when I was doing, because with Ayurveda, I started practicing meditation daily, got very regimented about it. And then, and I realized how much it was changing my relationship with myself, being with myself.
Yeah.
That helps with self-love a lot, by the way, meditation. It really does.
Yeah.
And one day I looked it up. I was alone in my home, and it said, to lose yourself in meditation for a higher purpose.
It's like lights on, like.
I started crying, and I texted my
moment.
parents immediately, and I was like, I love you. How did you know?
Yeah.
How did you know?
Yeah.
It's beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah. That's what you've been put on here to do. It's amazing. I love it. I love everything about it. I feel like I'm literally going to keep you here till 11. By the way, guys, we're actually doing this at like 10:30 at night.
Because that's the only time we could find to schedule, because I leave for San Francisco tomorrow night.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So she's got like some sort of a flight to catch, and I'm like, no, we've got to get this done. But obviously, I mean, to actually take you back to Potion, this is something that I'm sure every single person who's listening is going to be like, well, okay, how can we get it? How can we get our hands on this? How does it work? Is it online? I'm going to link everything, of course.
Takeyourpotion.com.
Yeah.
If you're interested in like education and all that stuff, I love educating. I used to be a teacher, as you might have heard. So Take Your Potion on Instagram, on TikTok, on all the platforms, YouTube. So definitely follow us.
Okay.
If you want to purchase, takeyourpotion.com. We do have international shipping. I know that here, Shop and Ship, or what is it called?
I think, Shop and Ship.
Shop and Ship is a great option, because if you buy, anything over $50, it's free shipping within the US.
Yep.
So that's what a lot of customers have, Aramex or whatever the other platforms are.
Yeah.
But you know what? Dubai has turned out serendipitously to be a really big market for us. So I am exploring actually bringing Potion here into retailers by the end of the year.
I really hope that you do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if there's any evidence from this week, it's wild.
I'm so glad. Yeah. I'm so glad. I really feel it's not just, like you said, it's not just Potion. Potion is wonderful. It's everything else that goes along with it.
Thanks for
saying that. It's the message. It's the ritual. It's everything that you need to just feel good. You've got just like a little setup for self-care, self-love,
Self-love.
health, immunity. You've got the practicality in it, and as well as a little extra.
A little bit of mysticism.
Yeah, who doesn't love that?
The scientific and the mystic.
That's what it's all
Love
about,
that, yeah.
and that's what you want. You want to be able to do that. And we are, at the end of the day, Dubai is multicultural. Everybody comes from all different types of backgrounds. And, this type of thing, to introduce it, in a market like this, it should be done. So I'm going to keep hassling you,
please. I mean, I think it's so crazy because my husband was born and raised here.
Yeah.
Who would have ever thought? I never thought when we launched this 7 months ago that we would be opening up Dubai within looking at opening Dubai within 7 months.
Touch wood, that's amazing.
I know.
Yeah. Again, I've literally kept you for over an hour.
But I love talking.
Yeah,
I love talking to you.
I love listening.
Yeah.
I can literally go on forever, but there is a little time constraint.
Absolutely.
So usually at the end of each interview, I start the interview with a quote and I end it with one, but not from me, from the guests.
Yep.
Do you have one?
Absolutely. Rumi, one of my favorite poets. The wound is the place that the light enters you.
That's so fitting. So perfect.
Yeah.
So fitting. I feel like that's a perfect sum up to the entire thing.
I think so.
Do you feel good?
I feel great. I really hope that this message reaches someone who needs to hear it.
Yeah.
Because that's the power of us telling our stories.
Yeah.
Is they all need to be heard because they could be resonating with someone else. And that's the biggest honor of my life would be that someone takes something that happened to me or a lesson that I learned and they can use that to
their benefit.
Yeah.
I'm sure they will. I mean, it's hard not to take that on board. I mean, literally, I'm telling you, I met you on Monday.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is unbelievable. So I'm so glad. I'm so thankful for your time. And
I'm so thankful for yours.
Thank you so much for coming on. This was amazing. I'm going to keep sort of pushing you. Come back to Dubai.
Yeah.
Come back to Dubai.
I want to. I feel like
I've made... give us your updates and everything.
Absolutely.
I'll link all of your details
for
anody that wants to get their hands on Push. And you've also got wonderful products as well, which I think you recently incorporated.
Yeah. So after we launched, we only have one potion.
Yep.
And I'm very particular about less is more.
Yes, I love that.
I just think we have way too much in this world.
Much. It's way too much. Yeah.
Everything is packed in one bottle. Less has more too, and less is more. Yeah. You don't need to do everything. You just need to do a few things very well. Yeah. And so focus on your immunity. There's 3 other products, and those are all tools that, again, I cannot take credit for, but I'll say that we've enhanced them a bit. Yeah. So we have a ionic copper bristle dry brush, which really will help accelerate lymphatic drainage. Yeah. Your lymph system, the way it drains, is really going to help detoxify you. Your skin, all of that stuff. Of course, it has beauty benefits, which people love.
Yeah.
But then the tongue scraper is because your mouth is your second largest microbiome in your body.
Yeah.
Overnight, a lot of bacteria accumulates in your mouth. You got to take that out. And pure copper will specifically target tooth decay, tartar-causing, bad odor-causing bacteria in your mouth and leave the good stuff. Mm-hmm. So that is and then a pure copper vessel to put your water in, which filters, purifies, and alkalizes your water. And that's all you need. And you detoxify the natural way, and you take your potion.
Absolutely. And they're also beautifully done.
Thank you.
Is a vibe, guys. You have to see it. It is you feel good. You feel good after it. Even the potion is a vibe. The
tools are a vibe.
The tools are a vibe. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Cimeran, thank you so much. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, my love.
This was amazing.
This was amazing.
Really, it was such a pleasure meeting you, and thank you for coming on It Takes a Village.
Thank you so much for having me, everyone.
Thank you for listening to They Say It Takes a Village. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. I look forward to bringing you another one next week. Don't forget, please subscribe, rate, and review so I can reach and help even more parents. And if you've got a topic that you'd like me to cover, please head over to my Instagram page, ittakesavillage.me, and drop me a line.